Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, this weekend's project, I am working on this 78 or 79 Chevy K20 four-wheel drive. It's got an automatic and a V8. I don't know how long it's been parked. I've had it a couple of years. I got it from an estate. They didn't know how long it was parked or why. So today I'm going to try and make it run. I need to, before I put any money into it, I want to make sure it will fire off. So that's today's project. Make sure it's not locked up, make sure it's got spark, make sure it runs. So we'll see if it'll run. It was last registered in 2011 according to the plates. So I'm going to assume it hasn't been running at least that long. So I'm going to change the battery out. Just pull the battery out of one of the tractors just to see if it'll run. Swap the battery. I'm going to hot wire. I don't have a key for it, so just going to run a power wire to the distributor. And I've got a push button starter deal that I will run to the starter. See if I can make it crank. Alright, so had a side post battery in it, so I put some top post cable ends on it. I got this temporary jumper switch hooked in, or starter switch hooked in with jumper wires. So I'm going to see if it cranks. It does crank over. So now my next step will be climbing up in there and hooking a power wire to the distributor. So I probably shouldn't have cranked it over because there's a mouse nest in the air cleaner. There's plum pits or apricot pits. There's nothing on the inside of the air filter though, so that's good. Okay, so I got a jumper wire run to the distributor that I can clip onto the battery. And then I've got some fuel. I'm going to throw some fuel in it. I'll just throw fuel down the vent. That should hopefully get some fuel in the bowl. Crack the throttle a little bit. Down the throat. Then energize it. Hit the button.
was running.
as there's fuel in the bowl. But it is running. Didn't sound like it had any crazy knocks or anything. So I may see about trying to hook a fuel system to it. So I fired it up like 3 minutes ago on the fuel that was in the bowl, and it's still just idling along. So I don't know if it picked up fuel, if it's got old fuel in it. But it runs. It's got a lock column, and I don't have a key for it. So that's gonna be its own project, making it drive, but it's running. It smokes, but I put 2-stroke gas in it. It was just idling along. I think it should have run out of fuel in the bowl by now. So I think it's running on old gas in the tank. And I'm just going to let the camera run so I can use it as a timer to see how long it runs.
A set of tires floating around?
I can probably get these ones greasy. If not, it wouldn't be a match set, but we could jack it up and throw tires on it.
Just a set of tires, not a match set, but a set.
There was 2 spares in it that I think are holding air, and then I'm sure we've got a couple of spare trailers. And then figure out how to unlock the column and see if it runs and drives.
Yeah.
Well, it's been idling for 5 minutes, so I'm going to assume, or for over 5 minutes, I'm going to assume that it's running on its own fuel system now. So I'm going to shut it off, add coolant, figure out some tires, see if I can figure out how to unlock the column so I can shift it, see if it moves. Alright, so I had it running for a while, had it running for quite a while. It is low on coolant, so I will top the coolant off, and then I'll take you inside the cab where I've got the steering column all torn apart. Got it torn apart to the point that I can shift it now. So I'll see if I can get it to go into gear. It was circulating coolant, but it's obviously pretty low. I don't want to overheat it, so I'm going to make sure it's all topped off before I really start running it. Looks like it took almost a gallon of coolant. Which is good. I'm glad it didn't take more than that. I've got the steering column all torn apart. And I guess I've got the turn signal going one direction or the other. Okay. But I've got the turn signal all torn, or the steering column all torn apart so that I can put it in gear now. I've got dash all lights up. I bet that negative battery cable is loose. Hook my jumper wire back up because I don't feel like climbing up there yet. Strange. Something out here is not happy with me. Okay. Just leave it set up out here. Throw it in gear and see what it does. Right, so it will try and move under its own power. I don't have a steering wheel on it. It's on 4 flat tires, so it tried to run over the old battery, which turned into a tire chuck. So my next step is going to be getting tires put on it, get the steering column put back together. My next step will be get some tires put on it, get the steering column put back together, and then we can actually take it for a test drive around the yard. I did go and pick up a new lock cylinder, so I have a key for it. I'll put the wiring back together to factory so the key works. But it's getting there. It's making progress. Alright, so I'm putting the steering column back together now after having it apart after taking it apart to put a new key tumbler in it. I've got the lock tumbler appears to work, so I'm willing to put it all back together so I have steering again. And then it's tires and hot laps around the yard. Donuts. So I'll have to go drag a jack from all the way in the front to all the way in the back so I can change tires. But I'm willing to put the steering column back together because it moves. So when I tore it all apart, I wasn't sure it was going to move, which is why I tested it to make sure it moved before I put the steering column back in, or back together. This truck was actually pretty nice in its day, I think. It's got cruise control and AC, turbo 400, 400 small block, four-wheel drive. It would be better if it wasn't full-time four-wheel drive. I like the part-time four-wheel drives better, but it was a pretty nice truck. The hazards even work. Cool. I am going to try and put it back together so the horn will work again. But it had this lock ring or lock plate that splines down on the steering column shaft, and then it's got this detent right here that locks into the notches on it, keeps it from being able to be steered. I don't think that's necessary on these old trucks, and I'm not willing to fight with it to put it back together, so I will not be fighting with it to put it back together. But a functioning horn is nice. So the key works. Cranks it. I do need to hook the wire back up the distributor so that the key will start the truck. Currently, the key's not going to start the truck. But I do have a key to the truck now, so that I can... Maybe it'll sell better that way. I have had the truck listed for sale for probably 6 months. I've had a few people come to look at it, but because it didn't run, I couldn't prove that it ran. Didn't have a key for it. Nobody has been interested in buying it. So, make it run and drive, and we'll see. So it got dark last night while I got 4 tires on the truck that hold air. So now I can prove that it runs and drives. Hopefully it starts after sitting overnight. Had to pump it a couple of times, but it did fire up. It is definitely running on old gas. I let it run the entire time I was working on it last night. Just let it sit and idle. And it never ran out of gas. So it is definitely running on old gas. But it seems to fire up. Transmission seems to work. It's a little cold-blooded. Go for a ride?
Not really.
Okay. But it does run and drive. Seems to shift through the gears. Reverse works. Transfer case seems to shift. Between high and low just fine. But after sitting for 20, I'm going to guess in the mid-20s, it's been... Last registered was 2011, so it's been 15 years since it was last registered. But I cut 4-inch trees around it when I pulled it out of where it was sitting. So 4 to 6 inch diameter trees. I think it's probably been sitting in that same spot for 20 plus years. But surprisingly, it needed a battery and a little bit of fuel, and it's running. It's got tires on it that hold air. It needs a tune-up, it needs an oil, all the fluids changed, but it runs and drives. Thank you all for watching, and I hope we'll see you in the next one.